Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing Chainsaw Man Episode 1 of the anime. So please like and subscribe if you haven't. This is Akainu Fanboy, and this is Geboss, and he's going to lead us off with just basically explaining the premise of this series.
So, um, so Chainsaw Man is a series about a world where there are these things called devils, and there are people who who hunt the devils either for money or they do it in terms of like public safety. And it follows our main character Denji, who has a pet chainsaw devil who's in the form of a little dog. But then something happens and he gets combined with him, and he can turn his limbs and head into a chainsaw. And I think that's the basic premise. So how did you hear, like, what made you want to watch this show out of everything? Was it just word of mouth, or?
Yeah, word of mouth. I heard the manga was interesting and that it was an interesting concept, I guess. And obviously, when you started seeing the trailers for the animation for this, you're just like, wow, this looks like incredible and everything like that. So, this was the same studio that did Jujutsu Kaisen, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, and they're doing the Attack on Titan as well. So I don't know how they're just putting out all these really well animated shows.
Yeah, it's great, and you definitely saw an overlap with the art style and everything. But I'm a big Jujutsu Kaisen fan. I'm not into the manga, but I really enjoyed the first season of the anime and Jujutsu Kaisen episode 0. But I do kind of like this premise of like humans hunting down demons and things like that too. And it looks more unique. It's not like the Demon Slayer type of thing with the samurai swords, but there's kind of like going to be an array of abilities in a more modern landscape, which I'm really interested to check that out too. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed that he didn't just stick with having the demon as like a weapon rather than transfer. I kind of like the idea of using it more as a weapon rather than transforming into a chainsaw guy, man himself. But I'm not saying like a condemn you, but that was just kind of an initial preference of mine off the bat, though.
You just wanted the cute dog to stay around.
Yeah, and maybe have him like be updated as like a familiar type of thing too.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of interesting, but it's fine. I still think it was interesting. I think the world has like a really strong feeling of like there's this setup established society, that demons kind of live amongst. So while I think like with Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, those worlds are kind of mysterious to humans. There's not much in the way of interaction between the two. So I'm going to be curious to see how they tease that out more.
Yeah. So I've read the entire manga, and they just released kind of the quote unquote second part of the manga. It's like a couple chapters in, and I've been kind of keeping up to date with that. But I liked the level of animation of it, and I really liked the gore, because I was kind of worried about like with the newest Bleach anime, they had a big thing where they weren't toning down the gore at all, and they're definitely doing that here as well. They're not holding anything back, and I think that's good, because as you go farther into the series, there's no way that you can hold back, because this is like, believe it or not, this is like one of the tame parts of the series. The tamest. It is the first episode, but it just keeps getting crazier from here.
Yeah, and Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan have some pretty insane gore scenes too. So I think it's something that the animation studio is going to be okay with doing and everything.
Yeah. I was especially worried because there's the one shot where after he gets swarmed by the zombies and he's all cut up in the garbage. I was wondering if they were going to censor that at all, but I'm glad that they didn't. But I was kind of not put off, but kind of surprised me that his main Chainsaw Man form was mostly CGI. I'm not the biggest fan of like CGI in anime, but it works in certain situations. But
it did feel a little clunky this first episode, and I mean, I'm just scarred off of CGI after what it did to Kingdom Season 1. It was just, I don't know, I kind of had a bad taste with CGI in my mouth after that whole catastrophe.
Well, I know, like in, I know you haven't watched it, but the series Berserk had a really bad bout with CGI in their series. But I think that it'll be fine with this because it looks like they're just kind of saving that for the monsters, and that kind of makes them feel otherworldly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one little critique, I mean, this is a minor critique. I know it's only the first episode, but I didn't really... it felt anticlimactic in regard to the Yakuza boss, who was basically the person who enslaved him his whole life, and they kind of off-screened his death. There was like no meaningful thing. It's like, oh, these people were terrible to me my whole life, and now he's kind of like getting rid of them, and there's like no emotion at that point. You know, it's just kind of like, you think there would be some resentment or like, you know, but it's just kind of, he gets powered up. Okay, move on. Kill these zombies. That, you know, that was kind of the only thing I felt was a little unbelievable. But aside from that, I seem like the main character. He seems to have a lot of layers to him. From what I gathered in this first episode, I did kind of like how he came up from someone who was in a lot of debt and everything, and I think that's a lot of people can, you know, relate to in various situations throughout their life too. So, and this new government agency seems really interesting too, because, you know, it went from being a slave to Yakuza to, at first glance, he might be a slave to this new government organization. This is coming from someone who hasn't read the manga, so this is just what I'm gathering right here. So, but those are kind of my final thoughts. Like, I'm really looking forward to this series. It seems promising.
Yeah, Denji, I mean, definitely hasn't had a normal life, so, I mean, in terms of the Yakuza, I don't think that he necessarily would have had those feelings, because that was just normal life for him, working for them. He just wanted to get away. So, yeah, you'll see a lot more of Denji's character and growth throughout the series, which is one of the highlights. But yeah, you have any thoughts or theories or anything, or?
No, really. I just think this government organization seems ominous. You know, like hopeful but ominous at the same time.
Yeah.
My first instinct is going to be kind of like a Jujutsu Kaisen thing, where sorry, Itadori, is that how you? Itadori? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, blank on that. Kind of like his relationship with the sorcerers and the elders and everything is like, yeah, we won't execute you now, but we're gonna keep you around till you like consume all these fingers and everything, you know. That's the vibe I get, like the relationship between the main character and this new entity. So that's just kind of Denji, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Blanking on everything. Yeah. So Denji and this new government organization. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. But yeah, no, like obviously the animation was great and everything like that, but it was a really compelling introduction for sure. I think it got the job done, and it was a good episode.
Yeah, once the series is over, you should watch. There's a video that breaks down all the references to all the movies in the opening sequence, because the author's a really big film fan. Like in his other manga, that aren't like supernatural or anything. It has a big kind of film theme around each one of them. Like there's one that has a you're a big Tarantino fan, and it's like a direct copy of a Pulp Fiction scene.
Gotcha.
So
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, those opening and ending songs are really good, and they're changing the ending for each episode. And I think there's only going to be 12 episodes originally. I think it's going to be a seasonal anime.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Well,
yeah, I'm just wondering what cliffhanger they're going to leave it on.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully we'll be able to get a review in for this pretty regularly. But yeah, if anyone, subscribers, if you want us to continue to reviewing the series in terms of the anime, then let us know and everything. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Leave a like and subscribe, and we will see you all soon. Peace.
See ya.